Candace Owens said Trump gave her a call over her coverage of Macron's wife's. Here we go. Ready?
And I get another message that's like, hey, keep your phone on. And anyways, this phone call is coming from Florida. Pick up the phone, and lo and behold, so here's what happened. I'm negotiating this thing. I'm negotiating Ukraine and Russia, and you wouldn't believe how many parts are part. It is President Donald J. Trump. He is calling me, and in true President Trump fashion, he jumps right into the narrative.
Yeah, you wouldn't believe how many moving parts there are to this peace process. A lot of parts, a lot of ins, a lot of outs, a lot of dangly bits to trim. Any way you slice it.
She says that later.
Okay, here we go.
Now, hey, how you doing? He just jumps right into the narrative of exactly how this went down. I am literally, it is hard to catch my breath to comprehend that 4 days.
Okay, so let's unstrap this. I mean, unpack.
Ago, I'm ending a series about Brigitte Macron, and now I'm speaking to the President of the United States, and the topic of conversation, no matter which way you want to slice it, is about Macron's wife.
Any way you want to slice it, come on.
It's about her penis. It just they write themselves.
It's about Macron's wife's penis. I mean, there's no other way to say it, right? Anyways, I have Macron. I like Macron. We're speaking at the White House, and I'm walking him to his car, and he says to me, Mr. President, can I speak to you for a second? I say, of course you can speak to me about anything. What's going on? And Macron wants to have a little sidebar. And then Macron says to him, Mr. President, do you know Candace Owens? And I say, yes, of course I know Candace Owens. What's going on? And then he continues his narrative and he tells me that Emmanuel Macron is requesting to his face that I stop speaking about his wife. And one of the things Trump said is he tells me, she's old and this is really, really impacting her. And then he said, I saw her, Candace, I saw her up close and she looks like a woman to me. She looks like a woman to me. I had dinner with her at the top of the Eiffel Tower. Oh. And I explained to him that she has had this amazing doctor who specializes in transgenderism surgeries or feminization procedures. I'm talking to the President of the United States about this, guys. This is crazy. This is wacky. And I said to Trump, and I will be honest, that at that moment I realized that one day this is going to go into my autobiography. And so I got to say something funny. And I said to him, respectfully, Mr. President, it's not my fault that he married someone with a penis. He then tells me, we're really close to getting this thing done. And he throws in the art of the deal type stuff. He starts complimenting me. He said, Melania loves you. She says, you're so beautiful. She says, you're so beautiful. I said, thank you, Mr. President. Thank you, Mr. President. Compliments will get you everywhere in life is my mentality here. And then I say to him, what I've agreed to already in the back of my head, I say, look, I'm happy to do this for the short. Obviously, I don't want to have on my conscience that less Christian men could have died in the East if I just shut up.
That's a weird thing to say.
But I'm very clear.
This might be a stupid question, but how on earth would Macron's wife's dick figure into the Ukrainian peace process?
Is it that big?
Say that to Macron's wife's dick's face, Jimmy.
I mean, okay, I'll be honest. I don't give a shit about the Ukraine war anymore. I just want to see where this goes.
To him that this is going to be short term, and that I fully expect that in a few months I will be able to speak about this. He was about to commit to that, but then it felt to me like someone in the background was like, no. We need this conversation to stop altogether. And then he doesn't say no or yes, but he just says, that he really needs to work with Macron long term, and they have this long working relationship. And I was very clear, this is not long term for me. Like, if you're close to this deal, ink it, let's get it done. And then he sort of offers at the end, he says, hey, maybe I can come on your podcast one day. I'm great for ratings. They're so Trumpian to give yourself a compliment. So I give him the Trump right back. And I say respectfully, Mr. President, I'm apparently good for ratings too, because you've got a leader of a country, the president of the country, asking you to ask me to do a favor. So
great point. That's a great point. Don't know what it has to do with Ukraine. So Ukraine, they can't have peace because it's something with that guy's wife's dick, which we know is real because that call Trump just made.
Yeah.
Well, and the big deal here is that Candace has the biggest balls. That's what it comes down to.
There's the irony. She's swinging the biggest dick in this conversation.
Jimmy, I said Trump should have nominated her for the Dong Finder General, because when she senses there's a dong out there, a secret dong, she don't stop till she clenches on and don't let go for dear life.
So some people are trying to say this is bad for her. Even if it's true, she's just tanked her career. She's on YouTube. She doesn't need anybody for a career. If the president asked you for something in confidence, that is good. First of all, Trump had to know she was going to say something. No, Trump. I'm sure Trump didn't say, "Hey, off the record," because if he did say off the record, then she wouldn't be saying this, because she would have to agree. If someone says to you, and I'm sure she considers herself a journalist, if someone says to you, "Hey, I'll tell you something off the record," you have to agree to that. That means that you can't say what they're about to tell you. So apparently Trump didn't say off the record.
He asked for a favor.
So he asked for a favor, and maybe Trump doesn't actually like Macron, and he wanted her to say this shit.
Now that we know it affects peace in Ukraine.
So yeah, I don't believe that this is a real person, David 142979663. So let me read the rest of this tweet because it's funny. Even if it's true, she just tanked her career. If the president asks you for something in confidence, that is good for the country and the world. And you revealed it. You're done. What? I've already unfollowed her, and I will not give her another view or nothing. She just proved to all of us that she thinks her career and her success matters more than everyone else. She just betrayed our president for traction. So here, America First, at USA Always Wins, says, why would one world leader go to another world leader and tell them to stop talking about their wife? You could just say she's lying and that she's a crazy podcaster. But Macron specifically asked Trump to talk to her. This tells me that Candace is onto something she doesn't want to get out. Of course.
That's the most insane historical presidential story since Trump saying the F word at that.
Yeah.
Outside the helicopter.
And now everybody knows that she was in her 40s and he was like 14 when they got together. He was 15 when they got together. So yeah, just the part that everybody agrees to on this story is already horrible, which I didn't even know until Candace Owens started talking about it. So the part that's actually that Macron agrees to is horrible.
Yeah. Remember Mary Kay Letourneau and her student, and she went to prison because she wouldn't stay away from him?
Yeah.
And now imagine, instead of her going to jail, they ruled France, and it affected the Ukraine peace process. Am I in cuckoo land?
Imagine, instead of her going to jail, she ruled France.
What honestly in the name of Macron's wife's cock is going on here?
So there it is. A woman who claimed Brigitte Macron was born a man are women who claimed Brigitte Macron was born a man cleared of defamation.
Well, that's a confirmation in my book. I don't know. Am I supposed to think it's debunked still?
So Candace Owens did a whole series on this. Here, Deja Dude.
Look at her.
Deja Dude. Breaking news: Brigitte Macron loses in court. It's a dude.
Yeah, I think, look, Trump calling her and asking her to ease off this story, to me, is confirmation of the story automatically, because I've never heard of anything like this in my life.
So some people still couldn't put it together after Brigitte Macron gave that hard right cross to her husband on a plane, sending him back several feet. That wasn't a girl boss. Turns out that was an actual guy throwing a punch. So here's Piers Morgan defending Macron against Candace Owens, and let's watch.
But it's this question about the French First Lady, Brigitte Macron, who you keep saying is a man. You produced zero evidence that she is a man. It's been deeply offensive to her husband, President Macron, to all of her family. You keep promoting it to millions of people that follow you. And I simply ask why. She's not a man.
Yeah,
she's a
sure.
woman.
I'm happy to answer the question. I think Brigitte Macron is a trans woman, and I think the fact that when Brigitte Macron, okay,
where's your evidence that she is?
Well, Piers, the thing is I'm not allowed to speak after you ask me a question, so I don't really know what the purpose of this is anymore. You just seem to kind of be saying your own thoughts. So I'm just going to be silent here and allow you to monologue.
Where is your evidence that Brigitte Macron is transgender?
Well, I did an entire series talking about where this came from. And first and foremost, you're pretending that I'm the one that promulgated this. In fact, it was 3 journalists in France that worked on the story for 3 years.
Right.
And they teamed up with genealogists and they came across, and it was absolutely fascinating. I read the entire report, and everybody watching this, rather than listen to Piers Morgan giving you a bunch of adjectives, ridiculous, it's awful, I can't believe that she's saying this. Why don't you go pursue a primary source? Why don't you go find the articles that were written by the French journalists? Because this did not come from me. This came from French journalists. And while they were working, let me finish the statement, Piers.
Okay.
While they were working on this piece, the Macrons sent their secret service to interrupt this. This is not a normal thing that you do when somebody's about to publish a lie. You would just say it's ridiculous, publish it, and we'll dispute it. They sent the secret service to intimidate these journalists. They took their phones, they held them, they wanted to know everyone who was working on the piece. And what they uncovered was absolutely fascinating. What they uncovered was the fact that Brigitte Macron, who alleges that the person that they are saying is her is actually her brother, who's never been seen and who they never produced, that Brigitte Macron lived as a man for 30 years and then transitioned at the age of 30. So he's trying to tell you this is crazy, this is wacky. Why don't you just go pursue a primary source?
Well,
I'm not the primary source. It would be very easy to dispute this. All Brigitte Macron would have to do is produce a single photo of her in the first 30 years of her life, or to go on a little walk with her brother, who she alleges that she is not.
Actually,
she refuses to do either. She's suing people, and the one photo that they keep producing is a photo of her daughter to phone that has been photoshopped.
Please. Brigitte Macron, as you know, has a libel trial against Natasha Ray, who made the claims that the French First Lady was born a man called Jean-Michel Trogner.
And she just lost that court case, Piers.
Is this going to be like a Piers Gaza moment where he has to say, not only do you have to acknowledge that Gaza is a horrific crime, he's got to now acknowledge she has a wiener? Is that what we're going to see?
We'll see. Here we go.
It's due to take place imminently, and we will get to the bottom of this. And I'll bet you, why don't we have like £100,000 bet that it establishes beyond any doubt to a charity of your choice and mine, $100,000, make it dollars, right now, that it is established beyond any doubt that she was born a woman. Do you accept that bet?
Make it rain, Piers.
Let's do what a grand American, isn't it?
Okay. Because look, first and foremost, 100,000 pounds. Can we look up what that means in U.S. dollars? Let's see.
A lot more.
Over 135. Wow, $136,000. I'll round it up. Let's round it up to $1 there. 136,000 U.S. dollars are mine. I'm not gonna let you get away with this. I want my money. It's gonna be like that Family Guy scene where Stewie's like beating up.
Let me play this again. What did she say? She wants her money.
Are mine. Piers, I'm not gonna let you get away with this. I want my money. It's gonna be like that Family Guy scene where Stewie's like beating up Brian. I want my money. Where's my money? Well, ladies and gentlemen, that's how it started, and this is how it's going. Check out this headline. We are trending all over France. This is huge news. The women who claimed Brigitte Macron was born a man are cleared of defamation because that's how the truth works. It's amazing that they even initially got convicted because of corruption, of defaming the French First Lady. It was this false conviction that the media then touted out as a win, saying, see, she's not born a man. But that actually wasn't what was at root of the case, as many of you guys know that have been following the series. Anyways, what has happened today is that the judges that were sitting at the Paris Appeal Court on Thursday ruled that Amandine Roy, that is the 53-year-old clairvoyant, and Natasha Ray, and she has been absolutely fantastic. She's a 49-year-old journalist, blogger, and researcher that teamed up and first and foremost put Xavier Poussard onto this story when he was having trouble even finding basic facts about Brigitte. And she said, yeah, that's because Brigitte was born Jean-Michel Trogneau. And so now the court has ruled that they had every legal right to make those allegations. More specifically, Brigitte brought the case in regards to a 4-hour YouTube video broadcast where the two of these ladies were sitting down, and Brigitte is alleging that there were 18 instances of defamation. Well, the court has ruled that those 18 instances did not constitute defamation, or they were based in good faith. And like I explained throughout the series, they were never attacking, Brigitte was never attacking the claim that she was born a man. She was being super petty and trying to get them on a technicality of defamation for misspeaking. You know, they tried this with me. Oh, you said this photo was recolorized, but it wasn't actually recolorized. And then trying to get someone into the courtroom, and then the judge says, oh yeah, it wasn't recolorized. And you go, oh, look, we won. It was defamation to suggest that this photo was recolorized when it wasn't. That was the game that they were playing so that they could give the journalists something to tout out as a win. Now they've come back and said, you know what? That's not enough. Okay. That is actually not enough. These women did not defame you. And so their lawyers were cheering outside of court. I can't imagine what it feels like for Natasha Ray and Amandine.
So she just won $100,000 from Piers Morgan, just so you know. That was
the odds he pays. You want to make a bet on if he pays her?
I'll bet $100,000 he doesn't pay her. How about that?
Oh, I wanted that one. I wanted to take that bet.
So now she's saying that the journalists are now going to move the goalposts.
This is his tweet about the win. He writes, Candace, what evidence would satisfy you? Would you have to examine Brigitte Macron yourself? I feel like you would accept nothing less. No, actually, we would accept like a lot less. So I just want to be very clear, in case it hasn't been clear from the beginning. Maybe just some photos growing up with your brother, some photos of your first marriage, which lasted more than a decade of your life. You allegedly had 3 kids, some photos of you in the hospital, giving birth to those kids, raising those kids, growing up with those kids that you allege that you raised. We don't need to conduct a medical exam at this moment, just some photographic evidence that you existed for the first 30 years of your life. That would be great. Maybe wedding photos. I assume you took tons of wedding photos. Can we see who the maid of honor was? Just proof that it was you. I feel like we're not asking for a lot. How about school photos? Xavier Poussard won, by the way, in court because for whatever reason, the school that Brigitte went to does not want to release the photo of Brigitte at school. And so when Xavier went to the school and said, actually, I won in court, you have to release this, the school said, don't care, we're not releasing it. That would do. School photos, I think. So this is a really low bar we're setting to prove that you existed for 30 years. You could go for a walk with your brother now, answer some questions, refuses to do absolutely everything. So you're not going to gaslight us for asking for a bare minimum requirement here.
So yeah, I love how that, who the hell was that journalist who said, well, nothing will satisfy you? Anything will satisfy me. How about try anything?
Well, like, how about if her brother? Now, if I was her brother, I don't know why he cannot be found anywhere, but you would think he'd go, I'm her brother. This is crazy.
Yeah, like, immediately.
There's not journalists trying to track this down because this is the kind of stupid story you'd think journalists would be all over. It's not about war. It's a great distraction, honestly. Why aren't they reporting it? That's what's...
So I can't wait to see the $100,000 be paid by Piers Morgan. Believe me, he's got it. He's got to be. That guy's got to be loaded.
Yeah.
He's got. It wouldn't stop his summer vacation at St. Bart's. Believe me.
I am floored. Are you floored? Because this is just goofy. You are officially a very goofy man, Brigitte.
Elle a lancé une rumeur qui gêne l'Élysée.
But I gotta give it to you, you've definitely got balls.
L'influenceuse américaine d'extrême droite Candace Owens n'en démord pas, Brigitte Macron est née homme. Une fake news dont le couple Macron veut se débarrasser une bonne fois pour toutes. Le 23 juillet, le président français et la première dame ont engagé des poursuites en diffamation contre l'américaine.
Fire everybody around you, and I mean literally everyone around you who told you that this was a good idea, that this was a very good idea for you to be the first sitting first lady of a country to file a lawsuit against a journalist of another country.
Sur sa chaîne YouTube, puis sur son site, elle fait des dizaines de vidéos censées prouver la rumeur.
A year ago, when I said that I would stake my entire professional career on the fact that Brigitte Macron, the current First Lady of France, was born a man, there were many people, of course, who did not believe me because that just sounds crazy. Emmanuel Macron, the president of France, I'm pretty sure him and his husband Brigitte are going to come for my life because check out this headline, all the way from France. Brigitte Macron, la rumeur qui inquiétait l'Élysée. So they are concerned about something, and I can tell you what that something is.
Et elle va même plus loin avec ça. La série documentaire Becoming Bridget est réalisée par Candace Owens et Xavier Poussard. 8 épisodes, plus de 6h40, censés explorer la vie de Brigitte et sa transition pour devenir une femme. Bref, Candace Owens va sucer le sujet jusqu'à la moelle en faisant l'un de ses business principaux depuis 1 an, même si rien n'est logique dans cette histoire. Les avocats du couple Macron affirment même dans leur plainte que Candace Owens avait pleinement conscience de la fausseté de ce qu'elle racontait. Selon eux, elle aurait persisté dans sa campagne de diffamation et sa campagne d'humiliation mondiale pour gagner en notoriété et faire de l'argent. Et cette manière de gagner de l'argent, Candace Owens l'exploite au maximum.
There's a bit of light reading for you. It runs to some 200 pages. Oh, I'm wrong. It runs to actually 219 pages. It is, if you read the front of it, it's in the Superior Court of the State of Delaware. Emmanuel Macron, Brigitte Macron against Candace Owens. The French president and his wife are suing a right-wing podcaster in the US for reviving claims that Brigitte Macron could be a man. Now, the lawsuit accuses Candace Owens of carrying out what the Macron's lawyer calls a relentless year-long campaign of defamation. Owens teased on social media that she will address the story on a podcast in the coming hours. We've reached out to her for further comment. Tom Clare is the attorney representing the Macrons and joins me now. Mr. Clare, I'm grateful. You will forgive me. I've not read much of the 219 pages at this point, but it's still early days. Look, Tom. Politicians, the Macrons, they're used to having everything thrown at them. Why did they decide on this occasion this had to be litigated and therefore into the full glare of publicity?
Of course. Thanks for having me, Richard. The Macrons, just like any other person, have a reputation and they have a right to their reputation. And this was not in any way their first choice, was to have to bring this claim. For the better part of 7 months, they have tried to get Candace Owens to acknowledge the facts and evidence proving that her claims are wrong and to engage constructively with the truth. And each time she has mocked them and she has repeated and doubled down on her false claims. And I would say also, these types of false statements become a cancer, right? They metastasize into other media outlets, and pretty soon it becomes an accepted part of the narrative. And the president and Mrs. Macron had enough. This is somebody who has put herself, Candace Owens, has put herself at the epicenter of this lie here in the United States, and they feel it's important to hold her accountable.
Don't you feel that you're just going to give it more oxygen? And yes, eventually the Macrons may prevail in cases, but there'll be depositions, there'll be witness statements. They're going to have to, what do you do if suddenly it goes to trial, which it probably won't do, but if it goes to trial and Owens calls the Macrons?
Well, look, the fact that they're willing to undergo that process that you just described conveys volumes about how serious they are about this and how important it is to them to stand up to this. They are incredibly hurt by the falsehoods and the repetition of these falsehoods, and that they are prepared to undergo that crucible speaks volumes about how important it is to them. And you're right, it does give more airtime to Candace Owens than she deserves. You're 100% right about that. But it is important that the public be properly informed, and the way we do that in our system is through the court system, where there are rules and evidence and standards, and they're prepared to do it.
It is a bit, it's perfectly legitimate, but it is a bit weird for a president of one country to be suing in the courts of another.
I will acknowledge that it is not without precedent, but again, it speaks volumes to how important this is to President and Mrs. Macron, that they are willing to come to the United States and do it. And plus, this is where Candace Owens can be found. It's important for her United States audience to see this play out in a public courtroom and in a public filing.
What are they seeking, other than a cease and desist? Are they seeking large damages? Are they seeking, as we've seen in other cases, essentially the closure of her company and her podcast and the like?
Sure. So this is a claim for monetary damages in the United States. A claim for defamation only can cover defamation damages, so damages to reputation, economic harm, and the like, and we'll come forward to prove those things at trial. But we also hope to see set the record straight. We're going to have a public trial. The evidence is going to be presented, and this crazy conspiracy narrative is going to be put to rest for once and for all.
You do realize if this comes to trial, it will be a circus, the like of which we've never seen before.
Certainly understand that. We're no stranger to that. When our firm took on Dominion, our firm represented Dominion Voting Systems in the case against Fox News a few years ago. Same courtroom, same courthouse, same media circus, and so we stand ready to stand shoulder to shoulder with President and Mrs. Macron as they go through that.
What the complaint is trying to do is build the case that this is not an instance of somebody who accidentally overlooked a piece of information that would contradict what they were going to say, that, in other words, that they acted negligently, but that it was done quite deliberately with knowledge that it was not true and having repeatedly denied any kind of response when the Macrons challenged the story that she was telling. At least that's what the complaint says.
Anyways, I am floored. Are you floored? Because this is just goofy. You are officially a very goofy man, Brigitte. But I got to give it to you. You've definitely got fire everybody around you. And I mean literally everyone around you who told you that this was a good idea, that this was a very good idea for you to be the first sitting first lady of a country to file a lawsuit against a journalist of another country.
I think that President Macron is going to have a very difficult time with this libel suit. And the reason for that is really simple. Under U.S. law, public officials are required to prove actual malice, knowledge of falsity, reckless disregard for the truth. In his lengthy complaint, he has certainly alleged that on the part of this podcaster. But I think he's also probably not giving enough deference to the fact that courts in the United States grant broad discretion to individuals to comment on public officials. I think that Mr. Clare's complaint that he's prepared on behalf of Macron spends a lot of time talking about the motivation of this podcaster, talks about monetizing this narrative, making a profit off of it, and trying to suggest that that was a huge inducement to continue to pursue a story even after she had been told that it wasn't true. This is a tricky claim to make because there are many court rulings that have said that just because a publisher is in a commercial business, a for-profit business, doesn't mean that what they're doing is suspect simply because of that. In a capitalist society, we're in the media business to make money for the most part. And if that were the basis for claiming actual malice, then everybody would be out of business. And they've made a lot of claims about damages in terms of the ability to engage in future business dealings and so forth. But I would say that that is probably somewhat speculative. So in the absence of a clear showing of damages, I think a court would be very skeptical about the actual malice claim.